How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Max, and for the past couple of years I have been building my Toyota Sequoia into an off-road vehicle and taking it camping around Oregon. In my opinion, Sequoias are very underrated vehicles, especially compared to 4Runners, Tacomas, or Tundras. In today's video, I am going to give you guys 5 reasons why I purchased a Sequoia instead of a 4Runner, Tacoma, or Tundra. If you've been looking for a new vehicle for off-roading, overlanding, or camping, today's video is for you. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, starting off, reason number 1 why I purchased a Sequoia is just the price you can purchase them for. Compared to 4Runners, Tacomas, or Tundras, you can normally find first-gen Sequoias for significantly cheaper. If you're balling on a budget like myself, the Sequoia is a great option. You can normally find first-gen Sequoias in the $5,000 to $10,000 range, and this is significantly cheaper compared to some other Toyota models which can be as expensive as $30,000, $40,000, or $50,000. By spending less on the initial cost of your vehicle, you're also saving some money. If you're interested, you can spend some of this money that you saved on upgrades or modifications, maybe a lift or some bigger tires. There is just a lot less demand for Sequoias compared to 4Runners, Tacomas, or Tundras, and this means that the price you can purchase them for is typically going to be a lot lower. The price was actually one of the biggest reasons why I went with the Sequoia. I was really looking to get a 3rd or 4th gen 4Runner, but really just could not find one that was in my price range. I knew I wanted a vehicle for off-roading and camping, and ended up just going with the vehicle I could afford, which was the Sequoia. After almost 3 years of owning it now, I can safely say I am extremely happy with the decision I made. Alright, moving on to reason number 2 why I got the Sequoia is the engine. The Sequoia comes with Toyota's 4.7 liter or 2UZ FE V8 engine, and this is one of Toyota's most reliable engines. The 4.7 liter V8 is known as a million-mile engine. I actually do believe there are a couple engines that have made it to the million-mile mark, which is actually insane. This V8 engine is just known to be so reliable and has very few problems. The biggest things you should be aware of with this engine are just the timing belt and water pump. These two things need to be done every 100,000 miles. The other thing is just the exhaust manifold leak. This is probably one of the biggest problems with this engine. If you take care of these two things and keep up on your basic maintenance like oil changes, the 4.7 liter V8 should be an extremely reliable engine for you. My Sequoia is just about to 220,000 miles, which is funny enough on the lower side for these engines. Over the 3 years that I've owned it, it has been extremely reliable for me. Definitely don't be afraid to purchase a Sequoia with higher mileage. I purchased mine with 193,000 miles on it, and even after 3 years of ownership, it has been very reliable for me. For off-roading or overlanding, camping in remote areas, reliability was one of the biggest concerns for me. I knew if I was going to be taking my vehicle to remote areas, I wanted to purchase something that was going to be reliable. The fact that the first gen Sequoias come with this 4.7 liter V8 engine was definitely one of the biggest selling points for me. Some of the 4th gen 4Runners actually come with the same 4.7 liter V8 engine, but what lots of people don't know with the V8 4Runners is they're actually only available in full-time 4-wheel drive. Now this means a couple things. One, you're just going to get a little bit less gas mileage always driving around in 4-wheel drive. And 2, if you ever want to drift or just have fun in the snow, it's going to be a lot harder being in 4-wheel drive. Another plus side to the V8 engine along with its reliability is if you have a small boat or trailer and maybe you want to tow some things, the Sequoia has a tow capacity of 6,500 pounds, so it's a pretty capable tow rig as well. Overall, this V8 engine that comes in the first gen Sequoias is just extremely reliable and smooth. It may not be the fastest, but it should get you from point A to point B. Alright, and moving on to reason number 3 why I got a first gen Sequoia, let's go inside and talk a little bit about interior space. Like I mentioned earlier, I was actually looking to purchase a 4Runner, and I'm so glad I ended up getting a Sequoia because of all of the interior space. Quickly, I just want to jump in here and say if you are enjoying today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's a completely free way to help support my channel, and I really do appreciate it. Alright, let's jump back to the video. I test drove a lot of 3rd gen 4Runners, which definitely are smaller vehicles, but it's actually surprising how much less space there is on the inside of those 4Runners compared to Sequoias. The Sequoias come with 3 rows of seating, which means that there is just a ton of space in the back. I'm not a super tall guy, but if you're looking to camp in the back of your vehicle, I'd say you could pretty easily camp in the back of a first-gen Sequoia even if you were 6'1", 6'2", or 6'3". There is a ton of space in the back there to stretch out. Having all of this extra interior space definitely does mean that the Sequoia is a little bigger vehicle. I definitely consider the Sequoia to be a full-size SUV, and this was definitely a little intimidating to me at first coming from smaller Subarus. After purchasing the Sequoia, I got used to driving it pretty quickly, and it's not something that bothers me anymore. With off-roading, camping, and overlanding, lots of times there's a good amount of equipment and gear that you might be bringing. Well, with the Sequoia and all of the interior space that it has, you should have no problem bringing all of the gear and equipment that you want. Even on some of my longer multi-day trips, I don't think I've ever ran into a time where the Sequoia was so full that I had to leave gear behind. I actually have a drawer system that I built in the back of my Sequoia. What's really cool about this drawer system is that it's 48 inches or 4 feet in length, and even still it fits behind the second row seats in the Sequoia. This means that I can keep the drawer system in there full time while also still being able to carry 5 passengers. For most of my camping adventures, normally I go by myself, but recently I actually took my brother and one of our friends camping as well, and all 3 of us were actually able to sleep in the Sequoia. My brother and I slept on the drawer system in the back of my Sequoia, and our friend was actually able to recline that front passenger seat almost all the way down, and he was able to sleep up there. So if you have a family or kids, maybe you want to take friends off-roading as well, the Sequoia should have no problem fitting multiple people. Now let's move on to reason number 4 why I purchased a Sequoia, and this is for off-road capability. Lots of people often write the Sequoias off and consider them to be more of a soccer mom SUV. Now based on how they look stock, I can't really argue with that, but there's a lot more to Sequoias than just how they look. Let me tell you guys, the Sequoia is an extremely capable vehicle, and in my opinion, just as capable as 4Runners, Land Cruisers, or GX 470s. Almost all of the Sequoias come with 4-wheel drive. They come with 4 high and 4 low and a center locking diff. From the factory, they come with 10.6 inches of ground clearance, and even without a lift or any modifications, this is going to allow you to access a ton of trails. I've heard lots of people say that the Sequoias aren't quite as capable as 4Runners because they are larger in size and considered a full-size SUV. I definitely can kind of understand that argument, but at the same time, in my almost 3 years of ownership now, I don't think I've ever ran into a trail where I had to turn around because the Sequoia was too big. Take that with a grain of salt though, because I am definitely not someone who's too concerned about scratching up the paint or getting dents or dings. I guess my point there is that you shouldn't write off the Sequoia just because it is a full-size SUV. Like I mentioned, from the factory, the Sequoias come with 10.6 inches of ground clearance. Even still, you can add more, and this brings us right into our 5th and final reason why I purchased a first-gen Sequoia, and that is for its aftermarket support. The first-gen Sequoias are basically a first-gen Tundra just in SUV form. This means that most of the parts between the two are interchangeable. Any suspension parts, upper control arms, skid plates, bumpers that fit with first-gen Tundras most likely fit with first-gen Sequoias as well. The Tundras, being a truck, do have a completely different rear suspension setup with leaf springs, but all of the suspension parts in the front should be the same. The Sequoias surprisingly have a lot of aftermarket support. You have multiple options for lift kits, skid plates, roof racks, front and rear bumpers, wheels and tires, the list goes on. If you're looking to purchase a Sequoia for off-roading, overlanding, or camping, and maybe you're interested in throwing on a lift or some bigger tires, you really shouldn't have any problem finding the parts to do so. From super basic lift kits to full long travel race setups, there are a ton of parts available for these platforms. One of the main websites I recommend you guys check out if you're looking for parts for your first-gen Sequoia or Tundra is just firstgenoffroad.com. It is a great website to check out. From the factory, the Sequoia is great for off-roading, but by adding a lift kit and some bigger tires, you can really turn this into a rig that can tackle almost any trail you throw at it. I only have a super basic 2-inch lift kit. It's from Old Man Emu. It's a lift kit for the front and the rear, and it's probably one of the cheapest lift kits you can find. However, that lift kit paired with some JBA upper control arms and 35-inch tires has been absolutely amazing. I am just so impressed with the ride quality of my Sequoia, and it really does amazing on a ton of trails. I think one of the best parts about purchasing an off-road or overland vehicle is getting to modify and upgrade it. Well, with the first gen Sequoia platform, you should have no problem doing this. Well, those were the 5 reasons I purchased a first gen Sequoia, and quickly to summarize, let's go through them one more time. Number 1 was price point. Compared to 4Runners, Tacomas, or Tundras, the price to purchase a first gen Sequoia is significantly cheaper. Number 2 was the 4.7 liter V8 engine. This is definitely one of Toyota's most reliable engines and one of the biggest reasons I bought a Sequoia. Number 3 was interior space. The Sequoias, being a full-size SUV, just have a ton of room, and this is great for hauling gear or camping in the back. Reason number 4 was off-road capability. From the factory, Sequoias come with a ton of ground clearance and 4-wheel drive, and I really do think they are a lot more capable vehicles than they get credit for. And finally, reason number 5 was just the aftermarket support. If you're looking to upgrade or modify your Sequoia, there are a ton of parts available to do so. When I first purchased my Sequoia, I was definitely a little concerned about it being a full-size SUV and just wasn't sure if I was going to be able to build it into the vehicle I wanted. To wrap up today's video, here's what I have to say after almost 3 years of ownership. I can pretty safely say the Sequoia is my favorite vehicle I've ever owned. Over the past couple of years, my Sequoia has been extremely reliable and taken me on a ton of amazing adventures around the West Coast. While I was hesitant to purchase it at first, after almost 3 years, I could not be happier with my decision. If you are looking for an off-roading, overlanding, or camping vehicle that's reliable and budget-friendly, I really do think the Sequoia is a great vehicle to look at. That is going to wrap it up for today's video. Those were 5 reasons why I decided to purchase a Sequoia. If you enjoyed today's video and found this information helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's a completely free way to help support my channel, and I really do appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.